me in June. And so I sit down with Gov, I sit down with Phil Murphy, so then I sit down with the county chair, Vin, and he says, well, I want to run. So I said, listen, you know what, I'll just go through the motions. And what happened is, allegedly, I go through and I get all the endorsements, and then the people from the South said, you know what, they didn't want me.
They want the minority.
So you know what they said?
Yeah.
They said, all right. Landslide DuPont has, didn't get back in the game.
You miss it?
I gotta be honest with you, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, your kids need you now, so.
You know what, I wanna work another 20 years.
Yeah.
The Gov's former chief of staff is Murphy's chief of staff, and now I just found out his existing chief of staff is going over to Transit as the executive director.
Oh.
So, Justin.
Oh, not Pete.
No, Pete's now the chief of staff
Right.
of Gov. He's been a mentor of mine for 30 years, but I don't know him for politics. I know him for basketball. He recruited all my friends who I play basketball with.
Is this on the NL side? So what's the process there?
We're not gonna be-
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order with a short prayer and a salute to our flag. God grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Terry, notice of publication?
Yes, Mayor, take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 26th day of March, 2018, has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Here.
Grillo.
Here.
Kilpatrick.
Here.
Lembo. Melendez.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Okay, Council President, approval of prior minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes of the Mayor and Council be approved on roll call vote, subject to correction if necessary. The February 12, 2018 budget session, February 27, 2018 receipt of bids, and the March 12, 2018 council and agenda sessions.
Is there a second? Roll call?
Councilpersons Kilpatrick.
Yes.
Buchanan.
Yes.
Grillo.
Yes.
Melendez.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Shoot. Fellas, is John here? Or did he have to go? He had to go. All right, Terry, let me have that resolution.
Do that first so they can go home.
Well, this way they can go home. Yes. Oh,
This is Mayor and Council Resolution 2017-115. Be it resolved by the following person is hereby appointed to the following title and departure as per New Jersey Civil Service Commission procedures. Name of appointee, Shane Zuchek, Lionel Fiora, Joseph J. Rock. Position police officers, Police Department, effective April 2nd, 2017. It says 17. I'll make that change. Sorry.
2018, fellas.
Just shows that I was reading it. Be further resolved that the compensation to be paid such appointees shall be fixed and determined by the salary ordinance or appropriate resolution adopted thereon, fixing the compensation to be paid municipal employees, and this appointment shall, appointment be made subject to all the rules and regulation of the New Jersey Civil Service Commission.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Novak?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Mayor, we need to open up to the public.
We're going to open the appointment of 3 new officers to our police department to the public for questions or comments. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fellas, I'd like to welcome you to the Saraville Police Department. Protocol dictates you don't have to stay for the meeting. Okay, with that, we have a proclamation tonight. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month and the observance of Denim Day are intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has public health implications for every community member of Middlesex County, including lifelong mental health impact. And whereas sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual harassment greatly impact our community, as statistics indicate 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused before age 18, with many more experiencing other types of sexual violence in their adult life. And whereas prevention is possible, so we must work together to educate our community about what can be done to stop sexual violence while supporting survivors. And whereas staff and volunteers of anti-violence and prevention programs in Middlesex County, including the Middlesex County Center for Empowerment and Sexual Violence Prevention Coalition, encourage every person to speak out when witnessing acts of violence, however small, and to challenge the social norms that continue to perpetuate a culture of violence. And whereas the New Jersey Sex Crimes Officers Association and the Middlesex County Sex Crimes Liaison Officers, in connection with the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Offices, are dedicated to ensuring the effective investigation and prosecution of sex crimes in our community through interagency collaboration and training. And whereas with leadership, dedication, and encouragement, there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing sexual violence in Middlesex County through increased awareness, prevention, education focused on increasing gender equity, healthy relationships, and bystander intervention, and holding perpetrators who commit acts of violence responsible for their actions. And whereas throughout the month of April, Middlesex County strongly supports the efforts of national, state, and local partners and of every citizen to actively engage in public and private efforts, including conversations about what sexual violence is, how to prevent it, how to help survivors connect with services, and how every segment of our society can work together to better address sexual violence. And now therefore I, Kennedy O'Brien, Mayor of the Borough of Saraville, in collaboration with Middlesex County, do hereby proclaim April 2018 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and that we join anti-sexual violence advocates and support service programs in the belief that all community members must be part of the solution to end sexual violence and encourage the observation of Denim Day on Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. In witness whereof, I have caused this proclamation to be issued and the official seal of the borough duly affixed this 26th day of March 2018, and the same duly attested to by the municipal clerk.
I move the mayor's proclamation be approved on roll call vote.
All in favor? Opposed? With that, I will call the PBA president forward for a presentation, or a program presentation.
Will actually be Rebecca Morales speaking on behalf of the union.
Rebecca, if you would. If you'd take the mic and give us your name and rank, please.
Rebecca Morales, Sayreville Police Department Patrolman. The Sayreville Police Department is currently implementing a program to better serve the unique needs of our veterans in the town. The program is actually called the Veteran Outreach Coordinators. Officers who will work doing their regular duties will also have an additional responsibility to work with our Department of Veteran Affairs and different organizations like the Veteran Crisis Hotline, Catholic Charities, Operation Chill Out, which provides assistance to homeless veterans, different loan officers who specialize in VA loans, and counselors who specialize in PTSD. While working on the road, we've encountered many veterans in different stages of their life. Some who've adjusted very well to being civilians, and some who've had more of a hard time. So now with this new program, we'll be able to assist them and give them more permanent solutions to whatever problems they're facing. Secondly, we, for the first time, will be introducing the Junior Police Academy this summer. It will be open to residents entering the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It's a one-week program. And we are going to be conducting different drills and ceremonies, as well as physical conditioning, and giving them a classroom portion, as well as hands-on training, to kind of give them an inside look at what it really is to be in a police academy. So very excited to get these programs started.
Becca,
Thank you,
we
Rebecca.
thank you. Okay, next, I'm asking Barbara Kilcummins to come up to the mic to discuss a little Sayreville history, saying goodbye to an old Sayreville friend.
Barbara Kilcummins. This happens to be Mike Zollinger's brother. He was a former code enforcer for the community who just passed away last week. He was also the first president of our historical society, and he was instrumental in saving the tower. At least we had one representation of Saren Fisher's. And my husband was in the process of demolishing Saren Fisher's. And I was quite upset because I wanted them to save a kiln. I thought a kiln would be an example of how the bricks were made. And since Saren Fisher supplied most of the bricks for New York City and elsewhere, it was important that we had something to represent it. So Jake happened to be at my home, and he called an engineer and said, yes, it could be done. And that's how the Sayreville Historical Society started, and he was the first president. He was an icon in the community. Everyone recognized the old maroon van that he drove around, and he really had a love of the community and the people in it, but he'll be sadly missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
We may have a moment of silence for the passing of Jake Zollinger, please. Mike, our condolences, our deepest condolences to you and to your family. With that, we'll move to old business.
Mayor, do
Are we going to go and close?
You want to do that first?
Mr. Ceridian here?
you want to do? Yeah, he is.
You know what, because when we get to the public portion, there'll be questions. So Jeff, it's your lucky day.
Uh,
You're gonna get on early.
Mayor, if with your permission, I'll read this resolution for closed session. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting such circumstances, whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Saraville County, Middlesex, State of New Jersey, as follows. The public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 15 to 20 minutes to discuss litigation and personnel. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion of this public meeting to consider any other matters which may be properly brought before it at this time. The nature and content of the discussion which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists, which relative to the matter to be discussed cannot be reasonably estimated due to the ongoing nature of the subject matter. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mike, did you say litigation and personnel?
Is it
Yes.
litigation and personnel?
Jeff? How much?
15 to 20.
Let's see if we can. Huh?
Ladies first.
Kipling.
That's usually my line. This isn't my seat.
I think we should.
I'm getting in Ricky's seat, and he's letting me do it.
Yeah, I think
No, you were letting me
texting
get
will
in
be
your
harder.
seat.
Since it's been now. We're not gonna finish it. Once I get it, we'll talk about it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Taking a motion to go back into open?
So, second,
Okay.
I did.
Danny. Either Vicky or myself, we both
All in
said it.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, with that, we'll go to all business.
I don't think they feel that serious.
Mayor, under old business, we have the public hearing on the following ordinances. Ordinance number 400-18, and ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance 258-14, fixing salaries of certain borough officials, officers, and employees for the years 2013, 14, 15, and 16.
At this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman Melendez?
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Melendez,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Grillo,
Yes.
Kilpatrick, Novak.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance 401-18, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a traffic signal at the intersection of White Oaks Drive and Main Street in the borough of Fairfield County, Middlesex State of New Jersey.
This time I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Arthur?
Arthur Rittenhouse, 33 Delacat Lane, Saraville, New Jersey. I just want some comment, or like to make some comments, and hope the borough will get in touch with the county. When this was put in, this was supposed to help both Sheffield Mews and Main Street townhomes get out of their developments and make a left-hand turn onto Main Street. What has happened instead, it has totally made it impossible for these residents to get out, because now there's a constant flow of traffic where there were natural breaks in the traffic. Now when the light's red, people are coming out of White Oaks and turning. So what happens is people coming out of Main Street make a right, turn a left into White Oaks, make a U-turn and come out. That's the only way between 6:30 in the morning and 9 and between 3 in the afternoon and 7 you can get out of Main Street Townhouse and make a left. One of the suggestions would be is to make it a no turn on red coming out of White Oaks. While the light is red on Main Street, that would create a natural barrier. Then they could put a green arrow to make a right out of White Oaks when the left turn lane on Main Street is on, but that would help. But right now I would wish that they would let the county know and have them look at that, because it is difficult. In the past 10 years there have been 3 deaths as it is, with people trying to get out of Main Street townhouses. Thank you.
Do we own that or the county? Okay, thank you. Steve?
Steve Melanowski, Scarlet Drive in Parlin. That, I want to address the gentleman who just spoke on that. That light helps folks coming out of White Oaks Drive, like we do, get onto Main Street safely and appropriately. Where and how it affects other people coming out of the Main Street townhomes and further up the road and down, I have no idea. But it has definitely been a benefit, right turn on red and the arrow turning make the left, so that people coming out of White Oaks Drive, which is significant, and it crosses over from Washington Road straight through Glen Court down across out to White Oaks Drive to get to Main Street, has been a benefit. So I want to contradict or refute what was just said. I think that light has helped our community and has made it much more safer to cross that street, especially when buses come across on both ends, coming down on the south side, coming up on the north side. Thank you.
I think what Art said was, obviously it's a benefit to the people on the White Oak side making the right in the morning or the left, but what happens is there's no natural break in the traffic if you live over in Sheffield or Bamehurst or Main Street condos, and you can't make a left, if you need to go over the bridges in the morning. So again, we need to work on additional solutions. Are there any other questions or comments about this ordinance? Being no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
This is actually Councilman Novak's, sorry, Kilpatrick's.
Thank you, Terry. I move the public hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Kilpatrick,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Grillo,
Yes.
Melendez,
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance 402-18, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 17 of the revised general ordinance of the Borough of Saraville, Section 17-4 municipal boat launching facilities.
This time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Kilpatrick,
Yes.
Buchanan.
Yes.
Grillo,
Yes.
Melendez.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance 403-18, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 2-15.5 fees.
At this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman Novak.
I I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Councilpersons Novak?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Under appointments, I have a letter of resignation from Pat Walsh on the zoning board, and in his place for the unexpired term, I'd like to appoint Officer Civilli. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Okay, also, I'd like to reappoint Shirley Myrose to the Cultural Arts. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Am I missing anyone?
Yes,
Yes.
Office on Aging, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Arthur. Arthur, pay attention. To the Office on the Aging, I'd like to appoint Marie Rittenhouse.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions on consent agenda items. Are there any questions on consent agenda items? Barbara?
Barbara Kilcummins, 22 Schmidt Street. I noticed there are 3 appointments to the Department of Public Works. Are these replacing individuals?
All retirements.
All 3, including the clerk?
Yes.
Yes.
Clerk. The other one is fixing the interest charges, 111, for non-payment of taxes. How much has that increased?
That is, this particular resolution deals with those outstanding taxes and water and sewer payments in excess of $10,000 at the end of the year. It's
Right.
a large,
Substantial.
it's not, it's an increase. It's not that it's any increase more than what it was before. It's just a housekeeping item that the new tax collector picked up, that it was supposed to have been updated, okay, and it hadn't been updated in a while, okay, but it is the same, it'll be the same interest rate, but it has to do with the tax and penalty, the interest and penalties on those amounts that are in excess of $10,000 at December 31st.
Are there a lot of them, Wayne, or?
No,
No.
generally not, but you can obviously run up the interest and the penalties on $10,000 pretty quickly if you
Right.
leave it outstanding, well, for a long period of time, so.
The other one is 113, declining the self-examination
No.
of the municipal budget.
Yes, every municipality, every 3 years, gets they say it's the benefit, the state says it's the benefit, but the opportunity to
Have a second set of eyes.
do a self-examination of budget, which it means it's not gone over with a fine-tooth comb by the state, okay? And like I said, there's 3 groups, so every 3 years this comes up. The last time we passed this, and this is, we want the state to do it, especially this is my last year here. Have the state review it, make sure everything is in order, okay?
Yeah, I would
and that's
agree
it.
to that. I
But
mean,
you have
that's
to,
fine.
you have to give them a resolution to do it in this particular, the other 2 years you don't, because you're, automatically they go over it with a fine-tooth comb. But
Right.
this year, we were eligible what's called self-examination. I'd rather that they
Come
look
in
at
and-
it. And the auditors, they like to see that too, because they want to make sure in case they miss something. Although they reviewed the budget, our independent auditors,
Eyes is always good.
it's just good practice to have them
That's
look at it.
good. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Being no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Buchanan? Grillo?
Yes, with just one comment on 114.
It came up in our discussion with Mr. Serenian 2 weeks ago that there's a commercial section within the River Road redevelopment. We had suggested potentially that the planning board would analyze if we could increase the height of that building and create residential should we be short of units. So I would just like for them to consider that, which is not in the original plan, and just determine if that's something that could be included.
Is that something you want to see amended before it gets referred to the planning board?
No, just a comment to the planning board.
Just a comment to the planning board, okay. Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
We have the following resolution to be read in full, Mayor. Resolution number 2018-116. Be it resolved that the following person is hereby appointed and to the following title and department as per the New Jersey Civil Service Commission procedures. Name of appointee Denise Biancamano to the position of Municipal Treasurer CFO in the Department of Finance effective May 1, 2018. Be it further resolved that the compensation to be paid such appointee shall be fixed and determined by salary ordinance or appropriate resolution adopted thereunder fixing the compensation to be paid municipal employee, and this appointment shall be made subject to all rules and regulations of the Department of Personnel.
Gotta
Is there a
open it.
motion?
Gotta open it, Mayor.
I'll open it to the public portion. This is for Wayne's replacement. Our financial officer.
Mayor, I move the public portion be closed and approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Are there any questions? No questions? Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Yes.
Grillo,
No.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
Melendez,
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna go to the public portion for questions and comments. Steve?
Steve Melineski, Scarlet Drive in Parlin. Council, I've been coming here for several months asking about the same thing over and over again, the COA performer. Thanks to Mr. Frankel, eventually, after several months, I was able to get in contact with Mr. Leon Cavella. And as I mentioned about a month ago at the meeting, after 2 conversations with him, it became apparent that the performer that he provided to the council and to myself was miscalculated. Instead of having it accrue over the 8 years that's remaining on our schedule, losing $3.6 million deficit per year, he was dividing it. So we really have a deficit, if you believe what's on that paper, for about $29 million. That also, as I dug further with him, found out that there was no additional costs added in for the additional homes that we would have to have market rate, et cetera, that would come in. And it's not necessarily how many are market rate, how many are COA. It was really a performer to find out what was going to be the total expense. And he concurred that, oh, yeah, it's $3.6 million per year over 8 years, which comes out to $29 million. But there was no infrastructure cost. There was no input from Mr. Cornell on the engineering side or Mr. Cups from the tax side. That's without schools. There's no capacity planning that I was made aware of by Mr. Leon Cavella to say how much capacity do we have for all these new homes with children, cars, etc., right across the whole spectrum. Police, whatever we need. Our roads are crowded enough, as we heard the gentleman talk about the light on White Oaks Drive. So my question very simply, and with due respect, is someone's got to look at this to look at what's our capacity planning for the town if these homes come in, and if Susan Gruhl can find more credits for us, albeit good. However, there's still going to be a tremendous amount of thought that needs to be put in to say, what is it really going to cost the residents of this town in the form of taxes, revenue? What is it going to do to the infrastructure of the town to maintain the new homes? They also went to the urban center for an estimate on how many children per home, and they came up with 0.2 per home, and 65% of the homes were going to be 2-bedroom homes. That sounds very, very low, but besides that, what I'm asking for after about 6 months of this is I think we really need to sit down as a group for the benefit of the residents to find out what is this nut going to be, so to speak, over the next bunch of years for our obligation to be met for COA. And I think it's not insignificant. It sounds like it's going to be very significant, and that it could have dramatic impact. So I'm asking the council, with all respect, if we could have a good look at it and not just push this off to the next meeting, We need to do something to get the residents an estimate of what's our obligation going to cost us. What do we need to do to maintain the new homes that are going to be coming in, the new families that are coming in? And if the schools are at capacity, what do we do then? Do we build a new school? Do we hire new teachers? How do we do all this? So that's my request to the council. Once and for all, can we get down to this? And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Bill?
Well, my fourth time here tonight, so I'm getting used to this. I'd like to start off by thanking the mayor and council for the last meeting, having Optimum come here and explain to you how they have a waiver that they don't have to prorate our bills. I spoke to Ms. Davis tonight at 5:30 p.m. and asked her, whatever happened to the waiver? Did you send it to the borough clerk? She goes, oh no, I got to get it over there. I said, well, can you email me a copy? I'd like to see it. She can't do either. So I think what happened here unless the borough attorney got something from Ms. Davis, then I think what happened here 2 weeks ago was that the mayor and council got lied to by Optimum. I mean, there's no nicer way to put it. They told you they didn't have to prorate a bill that the law requires them to do. They said they had a waiver in place for that law, yet they can't produce the waiver. They didn't send it to the borough, they didn't send it to me, they didn't send it to the borough attorney. So once again, we're back here asking that the mayor and council obviously do not renew their Optimum contract.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Ms. Davis had not sent me anything. I know I gave her my card, I gave her my email, gave her my cell phone. I just told the mayor that I will certainly give her a holler tomorrow as to where the waiver is. I'm sure that she had to go through bureaucratic channels to get the waiver, and if in fact it does exist, it's probably going to take her some time, but I'll make sure I make that phone call tomorrow.
All right, when I spoke to her tonight, she claimed, I don't know if she had it or not, because she wasn't very clear on that, so good luck on that. But also, I thought she was going to send it to the borough clerk after the last meeting,
Yeah.
so.
And here we are 2 weeks later.
Yeah, she was supposed to send it to the borough clerk and the borough administrator myself, but I'll certainly follow up in the morning.
Okay, and the other question I have for maybe Dan or the council, what happened to our state representatives? I know the mayor directed Dan to reach out to them. Do we hear anything from them? They buried their head in the sand. What'd they do?
I reached out to our Assembly and Senate office at the same office on the 19th. I have not heard from them either. I can make a follow-up phone call. I think they probably are making inquiries, but I can't speak for them. So I can give you an update probably in midweek and give you a call and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And I would just say, urging the council not to renew Optimum's agreement here. I mean, this is obviously what they're lying to you. I mean, they stood up here and said, we're going to send you a copy of the waiver, and yet nobody has it. So, I mean, if they had it, I'm sure it would have been here.
Mike, you remember Sergeant Bartlinski also spoke after Captain Gavin?
Yeah, he had indicated, matter of fact, I spoke to Mr. Gavin following the meeting because Mr. Bartlinski had indicated that he had spoken to the AG's office.
Mm-hmm.
There was going to be a phone number or the name of a person that they were to speak to again and relay it back to me. So after we conclude this meeting, I'll get some information from this gentleman.
Okay, because he actually, I don't know if you remember, Bill, what Sergeant said. He said he called, and they said that they had applied for a waiver that had nothing to do with prorating, and they weren't even granted that waiver that they had applied for, and that the Attorney General was actually looking into their practices right now. So, and I don't know exactly who he talked to. He didn't tell me exactly who he talked to, but he sounded like I don't know.
I did ask him about that after the last meeting, and he said that he spoke to the Board of Public Utilities. That's where he got that information but that he didn't speak to somebody directly at the Attorney General's office.
Oh, okay.
So that's what he had said to me, so
The Board of
that's where
Public
we stand.
Utilities told him that the Attorney General was looking into it. Gotcha.
Right. It
Okay.
came from the Board of Public Utilities, I
Gotcha.
believe. But like I said, we're still here, we're still fighting this, and I want to just say thank you last week. And I mean, you couldn't have been any clearer to Optimum that, you know, this isn't
That's right.
something that's making you happy, so.
They're not
that-
being
for
very
them to-
customer-friendly.
Right, and then to just ignore the council and not do what they promised is kind of an insult, you know, first of all to the customer, but certainly to the council here, so. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Hopefully we can, move forward, file complaints, whatever we gotta do, get the state to, come forward and do a little bit of something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other questions? Yes.
James Lopez, 29 North Minnesink Avenue in Parlin. I'd like to first start by saying good evening to the council. As stated, my name is James Lopez. I graduated from Saraville War Memorial High School in 2016, and I'm currently a sophomore at Seton Hall University. I'm studying to become a special education English teacher. And although I no longer attend Saraville Public Schools, I've taken time away from my studies in light of the recent school shootings that have been happening across the country to come back and assist many of the high school students about promoting stricter safety precautions in our public schools. I'm here to support the students that have been working to make their voices heard, and I'm also here to support the students that are afraid to speak their minds and take action, but know that there needs to be change for the better. I asked the council what steps do they plan to take in order to improve the safety precautions in all of Saraville Public Schools, and I'd also like to remind the council as well as the citizens of Saraville in attendance today that every situation is hypothetical until we're affected by it as a community. Thank you.
Barbara?
Barbara Kilcummins. I know last meeting, I believe the budget was introduced. It has not been adopted or approved yet, has it?
No, the 9th, Barbara.
Well, personally, I think it's an actual shame to increase the taxes of this community. I have seen absolutely no improvement. It seems the more money we spend on public works, employees, whatever, the sea of white trucks all over town, and the town looks worse. People that have left the community come back, they said they can't believe how this town has deteriorated and how it looks so unsightly. I looked at this budget, and it seems like we're over cap. $2.5 million over cap. We increased our spending by $2,164,000.
Not over cap.
And to me, it's a lot of things are totally, totally unnecessary. What Saraville needs is an efficiency expert to come in and look at the whole community on how it's run, because it's really in a basket. It's horrible. I go by the Public Works, 20 of 3. I'd like to know the hours that the people are supposed to work in Public Works. Isn't it a 40-hour week that we contract them and pay them for?
Started 6 o'clock.
Some work 6 to 2, some work 7 to 3.
6 to 2 and 7 to 3. Well, go there at 2:30. It's completely closed up. They work overtime in the garages on Saturdays while the trucks are parked there on Thursdays or Fridays when they're not in use. You go to Fort Grumpy, it's a disgrace. It looks like we're selling equipment there. And the equipment that we purchase many times are used maybe twice a year. And it just sits there instead of renting equipment. Look at the capital budget and the list. It's like every department's wish list. Give them what they want. It's ludicrous. And to turn around and increase these people's taxes again, other communities, why the state is in such a mess, I could see that why. You turn around, my brother-in-law has a home in Spring Lake. It's valued over $2 million. His taxes are not even $10,000 a year. My little ranch with high-tension wires going through the backyard, they have an easement, my taxes are almost $8,500. And I have a small little ranch, and compared to his home. Something is drastically wrong the way this community is running. And nobody seems to care. You just rubber stamp everything. I've been to budget workshop meetings. I sat there and listened to the wish lists and the departments that come, be it police, be it fire. You don't care. Okay, whatever you want. Here we go. It's a damn shame. And I know, Mayor, you don't have a vote, and you're just a figurehead. But what is this council? Democrats, 6-1? Go back to the drawing board. It's a shame that what you're doing to the residents of this community, because nobody's happy of the condition of this community. And to pay the taxes that we're paying is ludicrous. Thank you.
Hey, Kimmy, did you?
Excuse me, just one more thing. Could you tell me, Wayne, just basically, how much is spent on recreation? Total?
I'd have to look it up. Yeah,
The reason I'm asking this, I think some of you council people are blind, don't even see what the town looks like. If you ever come down Pulaski Avenue and look at the seniors, I don't belong to any seniors club, but I definitely support them. They're like the forgotten souls there. They bought the school for, what, $1 from the Board of Education at the time. The renovations, look at the front. Look at the shades, the windows. And I mean, I don't disagree with them utilizing the storage space maybe for the Board of Ed or whatever. But look what the building looks like. Just come down Pulaski Avenue and look at it. All different shades, all different blinds. Go in the main entrance in the back. It's a disgrace. And how much money are giving our seniors? They've earned it. They paid the taxes. How many years? I know we have something for the youth, but how much are we spending on Astro Fields? Okay, the county gave us $1 million, but what's it costing us, $2 million? Yeah, $2 million. We have to think nothing of playing for fields for the kids to play in. But these seniors are forgotten souls, and it's a damn shame that you're not either providing or giving them. I don't know, maybe they don't come here and ask for anything because they don't want their taxes
Hey,
raised.
you know, Barb, we put a fair dollar in there. We don't put in enough, but
Look at the bathrooms, Mayor. There's for
Barbara.
children. They've never been increased. They were for school children, the bathrooms.
I used them. I'm a big fella.
Regardless.
Okay. No, is that, Barbara,
I'm sorry,
you know,
for anything else, I think the seniors deserve it.
We do a lot with a little. Now, you can always stretch it more, but we stretch it pretty good. I'll disagree with you on this one.
On the seniors? Well, I'm not a member of the seniors. Nobody but the few people that I spoke to, their clubs and everything else. I think they deserve it. It's just an unsightly looking.
Barbara, they richly deserve it.
Okay, thank you.
We have no argument there. All right, wait a minute, young man. Kimmy, were you coming here to get to speak? Huh? You coming up? Steve, get the mic and bring it over to Kimmy, would you? Hey, Kimmy, I'm giving you a time limit. Go ahead. Stay there, Kimmy. Kimmy, say your name.
Kim Goods.
All right. You come here with praise or with complaints? Praise, Kimmy, praise.
Yeah, I guess praise.
God bless you.
You're welcome.
It's very good to see you out tonight. I'm so happy that you're here.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
We're happy to see you, and we want you to have a very happy Easter.
You too.
All right? Thanks, Kim.
God bless.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you. God bless.
Barrett, thanks for bringing her out. Young man? I beg your pardon? Well, I need you to state your name and address first and what you're here
Junior
for.
Romero, I'm at 100 Bayard Street in New Brunswick.
Okay, and what are you here for?
Talk about the gas pipeline and compressor station project.
And what do you want to do?
Some materials for the council.
For the governing body? Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Again, Junior Romero with Food and Water Watch. We're a New Jersey environmental group. I wanted to come to the council today with extreme pause. Last Friday, something called the Draft Environmental Impact Statement for this proposed pipeline and compressor station came out. Basically, it's a 23-mile gas pipeline going through the Raritan Bay, about 3.5 miles coming through Oldbridge and Sayreville, and then a gas compressor engine that would be built in Franklin Township. You'll see from the first page, there's a current compressor station around this area in Parlin, and you can just see the plumes of gas that come out of that compressor station every day. It's somewhere around 10 to 15,000 horsepower. It emits things like benzene, methane, carcinogens, cancer-causing chemicals into the air 24 hours a day. More gas coming from Pennsylvania through this proposed pipeline project, we think will lead maybe 5 years down the road to an increased pressure and increased horsepower of the compressor engine. Only a portion of this new pipeline proposal would be coming through Sayreville. And you can see on the third page a diagram of where that would hit in Sayreville and Oldbridge and Lawrence Harbor. But the increased compression of gas and emission of pollution into the air, I think, should come with some concern. So basically, I mentioned this environmental impact statement was released. We have 50 days, that's 50, to now comment and show your opposition. A few of the towns that have come out against this project, Franklin Township, South Brunswick, Princeton, you'll see Hazlitt Environmental Commission. I'll be speaking at Oldbridge next month, and I hope that they will pass a resolution opposing this project. Just urging the council to either consider passing a resolution in this very important time, these next 50 days. And if the council does not agree on a resolution, individual council members or other elected officials can intervene with the federal government. That just shows that you have a stake in the game. Middlesex County, although they haven't stated a position whether they support or oppose this project, they are interveners. That just means that they have a stake in the game, a skin in the fight. I hope that either individual elected officials or as a body will consider doing that. We are also having an educational event coming up, and I have flyers, if any of the elected officials here would like to take some to their respective organizations. I'll be glad to wait at the end of the meeting. It's April 12th, 7 p.m. Here in Parlin at the Madison Park Firehouse. Madison Park Homeowners Association is one of the co-sponsors. They definitely see the danger of this project. We see it as an environmental risk. Obviously, it's also a safety risk and a danger to our health, air, and water. So thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, Janet?
Janice Benedetto, 1 Thomas Avenue in the Melrose section. I know we've had a lot of weather recently, so I thought that there might be some postponements or delays to the court dates regarding the COA litigation, or is everything going according to schedule?
All according to schedule, ma'am.
So the opposition took place on the 22nd, what they were supposed to submit, there were supposed to be opposition responses or what have you?
Opposition was filed, our reply brief was filed, and the 28th is oral argument.
All right, so that's still at 11:30 in the morning in
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Natale's chambers?
Yes, ma'am.
So then the, or also on April 9th is still the judge's verbal decision
Yes, ma'am.
at 2:30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I just thought there might have been some changes, but no snow. So I'll say good luck to you. I hope everything goes in everybody's best interests. And then I'm also concerned about, of course, the appraisals that I've been talking about for months and months and months and months now. We did get a revised Sockler Realty appraisal considering the 163 units in the zoning changes by the court order, which raised it $1 million from 1.7 million to 2.7 million for the Cross Avenue National Lead Oak Street property. We still haven't seen the Stern Dragasette appraisal, and I wanted to know what the status of that was.
We haven't seen it either yet.
All right, well, this is what's getting a little like beyond belief for...
It's not beyond belief, okay? We call, we ask, you've said something which we may agree with you, is that these appraisers have a lot on their plate. They're supposed to do it in a timely manner. They should get paid when they do the report, but they haven't been paid until they do the report. So we've asked, and we've asked, and we've asked, and maybe we won't use them next time.
Well, I would think that they're, how can I put it, a poor business operation if they were engaged on November 15th, and today is March 26th, and you're talking about, something that they were engaged for 2 properties, and they're due to make a lot of revenue in their fee structure. So at this point, that I know that at the last meeting, we were supposed to have theirs by, during the week last week. You had said at the end of that week.
I'm not going to give you a time frame
Yeah.
anymore, because whatever they tell me, obviously, I don't get when they tell me we're going to get it. When I call, I try to give an answer to you, what they tell me. Now I can't give you any answers. So we push and push and push, and when they give it to us, we'll let you know.
Do you utilize them for other appraisals in the town?
They are one of the appraisers that we use, yes.
And is their performance as poor on other
There are
properties?
very few commercial appraisers that are, I'll call them reasonably priced, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe they're reasonably priced. Maybe we should be going to an institution that charges 4 or 5 times the amount. Maybe we should. That's something we'll have to talk to the tax assessor about, but it would cost us, some of the bigger firms cost 4 or 5 times the amount of money.
Can we give them a drop dead date?
No.
No?
You know, if I might, this company has been in existence a fair amount, and they are well qualified. They have been identified in the tax court as an expert. I agree with you that the sense of urgency is not present, but at this point in time, knowing their history, knowing their qualifications, I think a phone call, during this Holy Week, hopefully that will prompt maybe an early Easter egg. No pun intended. I thought I'd throw that out there. But again, just knowing that they have been qualified in the tax court, I think it's well worth the wait.
All right, well, I hope that it really is, and because the Open Space Committee made the recommendation and sent the letter after September 21st. It came to the council in October at the first council meeting in October. Resolutions were passed then. It took from October to November 15th to actually engage the 2 firms. And now from November 15th till March 26th, and I hope that we're not going to, do business like this all the time with companies that don't seem to be able to carry out their jobs, even though it means revenue. So I hope that they're really good professionals, and that the appraisal will be worth waiting for, like you're saying. So I thank you for your time, and I hope everything works out to everybody's best interests on Wednesday. Thank you.
Mike?
Hello, my name is Michael Thiel. I'm a detective for Saraville Police as well as the PBA president. My statement is basically just in response to Ms. Kilcummins.
Hold it up, Mike.
Oh, thank you. It's just basically in response to what Ms. Kilcummins had stated. I just wanted to let her know that I was actually at least visited the budget meeting, so I had a little bit of the pleasure and displeasure at the same time as being part of it. And I just wanted to let her know not everything was a rubber stamp. I know the police department asked for a lot of things and did not get it. And as a matter of fact, something that you had brought up about the senior center, it was brought up about the dilapidation and the windows and the roof, and it was proposed, and it was actually debated there how to try to work on it on a floor by floor basis, and there were things put in for the windows and the flooring and different things like that. So I just kind of took offense to it in a little way as far as it being said that it's automatic a rubber stamp. I know I'm driving around a 2003 police vehicle that's, I don't think, made it through a full week the entire winter, and I'm not complaining about it, but it's an automatic thing that it's not an automatic rubber stamp. There are certain bills, priorities that need to take place. And so, like everything else, there's a cost that goes up that has to do with taxes, with gasoline, with everything else that can add to the budget, as well as everything else. So it's just something that I noted while actually being present in some of these budget meetings, and I just don't want the people to think that everything's a rubber stamp, because it wasn't the case.
Thank you, Mike. Are there other questions or comments?
Mayor, just want to, may I? Just in response to that, I agree. I think we all agree. We work very hard on the budget. Mary does a great job every year. But an efficiency audit may not necessarily be a bad thing. Would my colleagues be supportive of Dan looking into other municipalities that may have done the same thing, other vendors that perform that? I don't know if it's at the university level, the professional level, but I think we should at least get some information about
We
an efficiency
actually,
audit.
I probably can get you copies. We've had that done twice. Once by the
No, it's
state and once by a private firm.
No, you do it repeatedly. It's not just once.
When was the last
and
time we
it's
did it? Do you
over.
remember?
No, I'd be in favor of that. That's just
About
good
20
good
years,
practice.
20 years ago. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well, 20 years
I was
ago
12 years
was the
old.
state,
About
but there
the
was a
last
private
time
one
that the
after
road-
that.
Are there any objections?
improvement
Are there
budget
any
was-
objections?
Not binding us to anything, just see if there's any options
Dave?
that other
Yeah, there was
Dave?
one after
I
that.
got
but
it.
20 years ago.
Are
was
there
the-
any objections? There being no objections, Dan, would you go out and get a couple of quotes? Thank you. All right, Ruth Ann Mahoney, this is your life.
Ruth Ann Mahoney, 2 Gerard Place in Portland. I read an article, and I'm not quite sure how it might affect the decision on our COA and so forth, when I read South Brunswick and Princeton were told in apparently no uncertain terms from the judge, you got to do it. Find a way. Is that
When did you read this article, Ruth Ann?
last week, I believe?
No, that's not what the judge said. The judge, there was a favorable ruling by Judge Jacobson that clearly disputed the methodology of fair share housing and the developers and reduced the obligations of the municipality.
Oh, I probably misread or
Yeah, no,
misunderstood.
it was in favorable terms in decision for the municipalities.
Oh, thank goodness, because that's not how I took it. Glad I asked.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes legal jargon, you can get remissed. Sure.
Thank you, Ruth Ann. Are there any other questions or comments?
As a matter of fact, Judge Jacobson was very, he didn't have some nice comments to say about Judge Wilson,
Bill?
in his opinion.
Bill Gavin, Orchard Street. I just want to say one other thing. I don't want to pay more in taxes, but in the last snowstorm, my street was curb to curb. There was salt down on it. So I know a lot of public employees take a beating all the time, but they did a wonderful job in the last snowstorm. The other thing, you know, my brother's the fire chief, and I heard that people actually came up here to the council and complained that they gave him a fire chief car to take home. Shame on these people in this town. You imagine what we would pay if we didn't have the volunteers of the fire department going out there providing a service to us for free, and we give 3 people out of the whole entire fire department a vehicle to take home, and people are going to complain about that or say, wow, that's unfair. Think about the cost if we had to hire those guys and pay them every day for the service they provide, or the first aid squad for that matter. Look at the service they provide to our community. So yes, we pay a little bit in taxes, but I'll tell you one thing. I ride around a lot of towns in this state, and I can tell you one thing. It's a lot better here when our roads are snow plowed curb to curb and the salt is down and you could get around the town. So I just wanted to say I appreciate what those guys and girls are doing out there. And, you know, I think the last snowstorm, it was over 24 hours before they went home. So, you know, just say thank you for those guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill.
For that.
Are there any other questions or comments? Being no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a
I
motion.
move the public portion be closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to adjourn the regular meeting
Mayor.
and
Motion
then
to
we're...
adjourn?
Mayor, just before you adjourn, I wanted to say one thing. First of all, I always appreciate anytime somebody comes up to speak at the microphone, whether it be, you know, an act of praise or whether it be to turn around and say that they're unhappy and they are annoyed at the way that we do business. But one of the things that I saw here today and that I observed at the Board of Ed meeting that I was at last Tuesday was a group of young men and women that came up to the microphone to express their opinions about things that are going on in the world today. And I think we all saw what took place over the weekend. And I just wanted to make mention of James Lopez, the young man that stood up a little while before. He was one of the members that spoke at the Board of Education meeting on Tuesday. And I was glad to see that he showed up here today because while some of the faces here are familiar, it's nice when we get to see somebody new. And it's also nice when we get to see somebody a little bit younger that I don't think would normally think to come to a council meeting in order to speak what he had to say. Now, I know his issues were in relation to the schools and safety and security, but we here as a body have an opportunity to give them a chance to speak and provide them with any kind of assistance that we can also, even if it is just a microphone or maybe a building so that they can assemble. One of the things we don't have is a community center. The Board of Education was very gracious in listening to the young men and women that got up. I let them know that our meeting was on Monday and that we're always interested to hear from young people. And I feel like we have something really amazing going on within our country where you have, you know, teenagers and middle school kids and an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old that spoke so poignantly. And I wanted them to know that here at the Borough Council, they have that opportunity too. And anything, and I'm sure I'm speaking for my council cohorts, any way that we can assist them in what they feel passionately about, that podium and that microphone is there. So James, I want to say thank you for coming. I know you had mentioned that some people wanted to come back maybe at the next meeting, and I want you to know that we're here to listen and help you in any way that we can. So thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're going to take a 5-minute break and then start the workshop session.
That second 5-hour energy.
You're running out of hours.
It's worn out.
You got an hour left. When we start construction.
Monday's coming too fast. End of May. End of May, yeah.
Because he didn't address a lot of things that we talked about.
I did your work for you. Right, come in at 4:15, I am official.
Well, at this point. Next meeting? Well, I guess I'll find out from Wayne. They're gonna coordinate that, they're gonna have to. Yeah, so that's a different issue, so they can coordinate all the stuff that's outside, not the inside operation, but the outside stuff. He said nothing complies with the so that's really what you need to do, especially if you're gonna use it for more meals. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would do that. He didn't do the announcement, he just gave a quote for the I think I had 100 in there for building related. That's a draft. Before that. Well, no. How much would it be? Talk about ventilation. Yes. They were talking about access. This is Jimmy. Like, that's gonna be a big number.
What do you think, what do you think of the Ashland project? That's not my bailiwick, so.
They've been, it's been years. They started out, they said with all kinds of different things. At least we're getting back to
We want-
Rainbow Street. We're gonna improve your water system, improve the sewer, improve your building, master plan road.
Right, right.
It's up the fields.
Yeah.
That's what seems to be needed in that turf field. It
Yeah,
doesn't even
that's the
grow.
only thing you really could
It
do.
just sits there. You don't want residential.
No.
And then you have
No.
cheese
We'll have
whiz.
those different-
They're gonna have cheese whiz and journey homes.
And that's what they always really did before.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass out. Clearance on the bridge and trucks.
Yeah.
So you don't want to use it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just wondering how many trucks would be moved into that.
That's why they're gonna be directed there.
Right.
Initially, I'd rather put money with.
You know, we had the same, and occasionally we had somebody
coming in.
Kennedy Drive to try to make it. But most of the time, nobody does. They may make a left in,
Or maybe more come.
but
Good one.
very
They
rarely do
stay,
they
and
come
nobody wants
out.
to
They
come.
just take that all straight out, Kennedy Drive straight out to Chevrolet Ave. It's not a problem at all, and that White Oak light is wonderful.
All right.
I agree.
You never know. You never know when you need it, you know? Oh, yeah, well, they have to cut more than my hand to get at it.
Is paternal, right?
It's his grandfather-in-law.
No, it's his maternal grandfather. Oh, his wife's?
Yes.
Okay.
I had to think for a second, Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
All
it's
right.
his wife's. He did this a couple hours before us. He does know how to use a washing machine.
Where is Dan?
Oh, he said he went to my office. He knows that and he did close.
Okay.
We're all here. Here we go.
Kemi, I'm gonna cut you off there.
All right.
We're gonna start it up. All right?
Everybody
I'm so happy you came out tonight.
Did he give me a new one? I don't
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a salute to the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Terry, statement of publication?
Mayor, take notice that this agenda session meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 26th day of March 2018 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan.
You had to leave.
Oh, I
You had
didn't
to
know
leave.
that.
Yeah. Excused absence.
Of course. Grillo?
Here.
Kilpatrick?
Here.
Lembo? I'm sorry, Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Here.
Okay, we'll go right to committee reports, Administration and Finance, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the items under A, 1 through 4.
Is there-
Second.
Okay. Next item?
Okay, I'd like approval for the applications for bingo and raffle licenses under B, 1 through 3.
Is there any objection?
No.
Next item?
Forward to Tax Council, item C, tax appeal for Verizon and Torsielli Construction.
All right, next item?
Okay, application for a social affair, I'd like approval for that for St. Stan's under D.
Any objection? Next item?
Okay, under E, public hearing on JCP&L, receive and file.
All right, anything else, Mary?
Just that next meeting will be the public meeting on the budget, and I hope everybody will try to get a copy and review it and come prepared with questions. Thank you.
Mary, you're to be commended tonight on your brevity and organizational skills. Let you serve as a role model. That being said, planning and zoning, who's
I
number
think-
2 on planning and
I
zoning?
think I'm number 2.
Victoria
Yes.
Kilpatrick.
All right, here we go. Minutes and department reports. I move the following minutes reports be filed. Construction office report, zoning and code enforcement, and reports, all for the month of February 2018. Fire prevention report for the month of February 2018. Housing authority minutes of February 2018, receive and file.
Second.
And we have a letter of resignation received from Patrick Walsh, which we already took care of as a
Sorry.
member of the Board of Adjustments, receive and file.
Okay, Vicky, you want to go right to
I'll go
your
to pub-
Public Works?
I'll go to Public Works, sure. Let's see, I move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. The rent leveling board minutes of February 13th, 2018. The Public Works Supervisors reports for buildings and grounds, parks, recycling, roads and sanitation, and garage services, all for the month of February 2018.
Next item?
Thank you. Notice of retirement received from Rita Januzzi, I always say that wrong, I apologize, from her position as keyboarding clerk 4 in the DPW effective June 1st, 2018.
Is there a second? Anything else, Council President?
I just asked for 2 updates. Weather is getting warm. A lot of people are still asking about those bridges in Kennedy Park. Jay, I know you're working on it.
Yes, they're being fabricated now, scheduled for delivery mid-April, so they'll be installed as soon as they're delivered. So hopefully, end of April, they'll be completed.
That would be excellent. Benches, Dan, I know we talked about, we had a little break from it because of the snow. How are we doing with benches? I think we just needed a total number of what we were looking at for replacement.
Say progress.
Say
Progress.
I heard that. Please make sure that we get a count as to which ones are going to be replaced and if they're here. Jay or Dan, can you please look into where we are with the Morgan Road improvements that are supposed to be done? Those roads, I know weather is an issue, but it's just not much movement over there.
Well, actually, they've started. Contractors working on Vineyard. The gas company still has work to do on Norton, so we're being held up.
That's what I'm hearing
Yeah.
is, so if we can kind of nudge them a little bit further, because it's really just becoming ridiculous. And that's all, Mayor. Progress.
Thank you. Public Safety and Water, Sewer, and Environmental, Councilman Grillo.
Thank you, Mayor. In Dan Buchanan's absence, I move that the following minutes and reports be received and filed. The Board of Health minutes of January 2018, the Court Administrator's report of the month of January 2018, and the Police Chief's report for the months of January and February 2018.
Next item.
The firefighter application received from Clinton Rowe as a member of Engine Company Number 1 was accepted on November 1st, 2017.
Is, any objection? Next item.
I'm going to move to Water and Sewer Environmental. I move the following minutes be received and filed. The Water and Sewer Director's report for the month of February 2018.
Second.
Okay, anything else,
That's all for me,
Councilman?
Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation, Councilman Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A, the Recreation Advisory Board minutes of March 1st, 2018. I move the minutes. And the Recreation Director's report of the month of February 2018.
Second.
Next item.
Applications for special events received. Sammy's Hope Animal Welfare and Adoption Center to conduct a 5K run on November 3rd, 2018 at the Nature Preserve.
Is there any objection? Next item.
Item 2, the First Presbyterian Church of Sarah to conduct a flea market on June 2nd, 2018 in their parking lot.
Any objection? Anything else, Councilman?
I just want to thank the Sarah Recreation Advisory Board for the Easter egg hunt on Sunday. We had to hold it at the senior center, which was very accommodating. I think we had over 500 children, so it was
Busy.
It was very busy. Line was out the door. So I want to thank the Recreation Advisory Board for all that they do, because I mean, there's so many events that they do for this town, and we appreciate it. The other thing is we have Yankee tickets still available for Yankee fans that are out there. If they'd like to come, you could visit cerebrorec.com to sign up for the games. With that, progress.
Thank you. Under my report, I just want to thank the DPW. As always, they did an outstanding job this past winter and last week on the final snow of the spring. Great job, DPW. You make us proud. Now, with that, we'll go right to the Business Administrator's report. Dan Frankel.
Mayor, just to amend what you said, I think it's mostly DPW, but we would like to thank other departments that also
Thank
plow
them
and
all.
everything. We'd like to thank them all
Amazing job.
for all they did and the amount of hours they put in for the snow. Authorization for Sockler Realty Services Group to prepare an appraisal report covering tax appeal filed by EI DuPont Company.
Next item.
Authorization to accept and adopt the Central Jersey Municipal Joint Insurance Fund's 2018 Safety Incentive Program.
Next item.
Authorization to apply for the federal program for public agencies for the acquisition of donated equipment, tools, supplies, et cetera, for use by the borough.
Next item.
Authorization to amend revised General Ordinance 2-38.3 and 1.7.1 return check fee and tax redemption statement fee to be in compliance with state statute.
Next item.
Authorization to award a non-fair and open contract to Lee's Emergency Equipment of Tuckerton, New Jersey for the refurbishing of one 1997 Pierce Pumper fire truck in the amount of $25,973.
Next item.
Request for authorization to appoint Brian Bender to the title of truck driver from laborer.
Next item.
Authorization to extend the shared service agreement for a 2-year term between the Borough of Sayreville and the Township of Woodbridge for various services on an as-needed basis.
Next item.
Mayor, also, I left in front of everybody a report that was requested, which is a fiscal impact report from MW Financial Advisors. I would request that you look at it, read it, digest it, and we have a conversation at the next meeting.
Okay, CFO's report.
Can I just have one question for Dan? Dan, did we reschedule a class?
We did for the 9th. I think it's April the 9th at 5:45.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Should we do
Dan,
the same thing that we
Wayne.
did today with the other property that's about this size? Actually have the developer come in and talk about this?
I'm sorry, say that again, please. This is for Mako.
This is just the financial impact. This is not a...
Right.
Yeah, well, we asked
Right.
for that.
Right.
5:45. She's
Okay.
got it. 5:45 on April 9th.
Ignore
Okay.
what I said
All
about
right.
this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving forward. CFO's report, Wayne Kronowski.
Yeah, the only item I have is the public hearing and adoption of the budget at the next meeting, April 9th.
Okay, anything from the Borough Engineer, Jay Cornell?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Borough Attorney's report?
Yes, Mayor, the police chief has asked me to authorize the revision of the traffic TAD, Section 19, which is traffic controls for street and highways during construction and maintenance operation for municipal roads.
Okay. Anything for executive?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on any and all matters. Are there questions or comments? Being no questions or comments,
I did,
I'll
I wrote it
entertain a
down.
motion.
Put it in my phone.
Who closed the public
Close the
portion?
public portion.
I second.
All in favor? Motion to adjourn? All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Good night, Mike.